customers apply for. As I said, they come in with plans. The plan review group review all the plans, go back to the zoning examiners to make sure that everything is good in place, and then the inspections are scheduled. So once you say, okay, I've got my permits, I start building, inspections get scheduled. The inspectors go out. As I said, there's various groups of inspectors. As I said, plumbing, gas, mechanical, electrical, they all go out. Fire marshal goes out to inspect the buildings. Once all the inspections are approved and so on, the use and occupancy release is done. So you get your letter to say, yes, you can move into your building, whether it's a house or a commercial building. Regulatory meetings are taking place, hearings. You will see, when you drive around the city, if someone plans to build a building in your neighborhood, there's normally hearings that take place to say, do you all agree that we build a building like that? So that all plays part of what happens within CityWorks in the system. So once the building is done, you move into your building, then the fun starts. Property assessment comes out, and you get how much do you pay taxes for your building. So that's also done in CityWorks. And then once you move into whatever building it is, property standards kick into place. So you have to adhere to all the codes regulations. So within CityWorks as well, you will there's violations recorded. So if you see your neighbors have trash in their yard and things like that, you put in a request to property standards, and inspections go out and they inspect the yard to see, and then violation abate letters are sent out to the occupants. Rental permits is done, and then more building permits. If you want to add to your lot or add to your buildings, you come in and the whole process start again with the building permits. In the background, what happens, if you look at CityWorks, it's all GIS map integration. So any place within CityWorks in the land system or in PLL, you can see your maps and you can see the different layers depending on your department. All the administration is done within CityWorks, process automation, visibility and reporting. We currently have 3 data sets that come out of CityWorks that push through to open data on Nashville.gov. So the public, you can go in on the open data portal on Nashville.gov. You can look at property standards, all the violations. You can type in your street address and see all the violations in your street. It's all public information. You can see all the applications for permits and also all the issuance of permits, so all the approved permits that's been sent out. So every night a feed runs through from CityWorks to the open data portal. Also Roy's working very closely with that. There's a lot of interfaces from CityWorks into other systems for the trustee's office, for finance, and then also for the assessors of property office. Every night feeds from there to files that pulls into their different applications. Here's some screenshots of CityWorks. When you're in CityWorks, you can see there's a lot of information, different departments, all the sign-offs, all the fees and everything. So all the administration within CityWorks take place. On the left bottom corner, you can see all the sign-offs. So from start to finish, from you start an application through to you get your occupancy letter, you can see right at the bottom, UNO letter. So all those things have to go through the various departments and signed off before you can eventually move into your property. We have an online component, so we went live with e-permits as well. So currently I have about 3,500 contractors externally that can go online and look at all the workflow of their permits. They can go and print some of the information from their permits, or they can apply for permits. You can also go in here and see different violations. So if you, any information that's within CityWorks is also available on e-permits for external users to go in. And then this is the land management system, which also integrates with CityWorks. We went live with land, with the planning and the assessors of properties departments, also on May the 23rd. And this is basically for land management. You can see the map on the right-hand side. But this is where you can go in and you can see your property, you can see all the previous owners, at what cost you purchased it for, and then you can click on the permits on the site and you can see all the permits through the history of your house or your building, everything that's related to the building. And that, in short, is just an overview of CityWorks and what we went live with. Are there any questions? as I said, within our department also is we went live with contracting with Civic Engineering to help us. They were the implementation partner to go live with CityWorks and Land and e-permits. And within ITS, we have business analysts. You might know Joanna and Ling and David. They do the support for CityWorks, the different components of CityWorks. We're going to go live soon with the help desk where users will contact the help desk directly with issues on CityWorks. So there's a lot of people involved and different parts involved. Yes?
Do you have plans for future enhancements?
Yes. The future of CityWorks, what's going to happen is there are some, since we went live, Saturday was 2 months since we went live, so there's a list of things which we agreed with some of the departments which are related to post-go-live enhancements or things that we said we'll put into place. And then on our goals for the next year is also to go into a phase 2, what we refer to as phase 2, is to go live with CityWorks with Beer Board, with fire, with health. So there's other components that's going to be part of phase 2. Departments that's basically using different systems currently to issue licenses and permits. So we're going to integrate all of that into CityWorks. And then way into the future, I think, you know, in a perfect world, potentially, that's not on the radar right now, we'll be looking at possible integration between the different modules of CityWorks. Any other questions?
Ed, I got one real quick question. How does CityWorks, if it does, to interface with any of the surface mapping for any of the emergency systems like police and fire and EMS and that kind of thing? Does CityWorks interface with those at all now?
Currently it does not the PLL system, it does not. Any other questions? I thank you for your time, and if you have any questions, you feel free to, you know Ling, you know Joanna, me, David Kane, feel free to send us an email, and we'll keep you posted on the enhancements and the future progress of CityWorks. Thank you.
Thank you, Ed.
Thank you, sir.
Appreciate it.
Excuse me. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, now we've got Rob, who's going to give a presentation on MTA, and I've got to acknowledge something for Rob. He has presented an orchestration challenge to me. We have our slideshow here. This laptop over here is connected through remote desktop to his desktop at work so that he can show the live application. And this little ominous box over here with the red light, with the white light is an Apple TV hookup so that he's going to connect with his cell phone and show some real live cell phone apps that come. So if I push the wrong button and you feel a tingling in your seat, don't worry, it won't hurt too much. With that, thank you, Rob.
Thank you. Thank you. All right. Well, thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to speak with you this morning. And let's get started. Rob McElhenney with MTA. I'm the IT manager. I've been there for about 16 years. And this is one of the latest projects that we just completed. It's our CAD AVL system. What that is, computer-aided dispatch, automatic vehicle location. So it tells our operations department and our schedulers how to better manage without sending people out in the field to take data collection. We send checkers out in the bus to collect data, how many passengers are on the bus, or we might send operators out or supervisors out in the field to see where the bus is, why is it late, things like that. So this brings all this data into us so we can manage MTA better. So we had a previous system that we started in 2004, and then we recently just migrated to Transit Master, which is an enterprise system for transit around the country, similar to, they're probably the Microsoft of the transit industry. So we went out for RFP in fall 2012. We had on-site interviews in February 2013, and we signed a contract in December 2013. The contract took a little longer than we expected just because there were modules and things that we had put out in the RFP, and we had to negotiate those modules in. So once we got the contract signed, project started in February 2014, and we went go live about 22 months later, December 2015. And then we had part of the negotiations were open data feed, because that was part of the conversation then, and we wanted to make sure that we had opportunity to provide more information to the public. So I'm going to talk about 4 key features: the communications on briefly 800 megahertz system that a lot of the Metro Fire, NES, MTA, police use, which is our radio backbone for that. So it was an easy decision to go that way. 400 megahertz radio system, some management tools. I'll do a little demo on that. And then what this brings to you as a potential rider. So the 800 megahertz system that Metro manages is the key backbone for all voice communications. We installed this component on the bus, which is a radio. You can pass this around if you want to come and look at it afterward. It's a hardened case that's installed on the bus. We manage it, radio communications to the bus in 3 different ways. We have priority request, a request to talk. So an operator on a bus would push a button on a MDT, which looks like this, and it's touch screen. So they'll push a button on this, request to talk. It'll go into the dispatcher, and it will show up on a screen. And then you might have 3 or 4 or 5 of those coming in, during a time period, and then the dispatcher will manage that talk. There's another one that's a priority request to talk, and that elevates it above it. So there might be a situation on the bus where they need to elevate communications, so the operator would, or the dispatcher would take that first. The third one is emergency alarm. So if there's something on the bus that the operator thinks is emergency or needs a supervisor, or there's that overt button, which is an emergency alarm for the bus operator. Data communications is, you can see our service area here. We utilize the same towers that they use on voice communication. Data communications as a wider, I guess, spread or dispersion. So we only needed 3 towers for the 450 megahertz system. So that's a radio that looks like this. So again, a hardened case. Communications with the bus are established through data first. So if the operator, the dispatch, wants to talk to a bus operator, he can talk to one or many operators at one time. So he'll send out a message to the bus depending on what it is. It could be a canned message just to say, traffic's heavy downtown, there's an accident on Broadway or something like that. So he can select a number of buses that might be on that particular route, send it out, and then the operator, when they're at a safe location, can read that message on the bus. Drink of water here. Also, the data channel controls how it finds the bus. So it'll pull out to all the vehicles that are in play or in operations for at the current time, and it will pull all those vehicles every minute. So every minute, depending on the bus's service, it'll come back with some sort of information on where it's located with the AVL. So some of the communications that we had to set up is that each garage, we have 3 locations for MTA. One is Nestor, which is just off First Avenue as you go out towards Donaldson. Myatt is our newest admin building, and that's up by Rivergate Mall, if you don't know where that is. And then downtown is for our customers, and it's the transit center. So the vehicles, when they pull on the lot, they'll download all their bus information or their stuff that they've collected during the field. So we had to put Wi-Fi on the bus lot. So Nestor has 220 vehicles on the lot, so we had to set up Wi-Fi communications to every bus, and then also in the building, and then reach our back office. So our admin offices had the same thing. We operate about 25 buses out of Myatt. And then at MCC, we're a unique situation there is because it's 2 levels. When you go inside the terminal, you lose your GPS. So that was a difficult endeavor, and that was one of the key negotiating points when we were going into this contract to make sure we had a contractor that could manage that. And similar to your doors, when you walk into a secure area that has your door card on it, we use RFID readers in that building, and I'll show you when I do my demo how that works. Servers and desktops, just to go over this real quickly, we have 2 application servers. They have a failover, so if one application would fail, it fails over using EMC. We're on a SQL cluster. We have reporting servers, information servers that display information out to the customers or at the tower sites to pass on messages to the buses. Also, remote desktop, so operators can, or supervisors out in the field can remote desktop into that particular server and then find out where the buses are if they need to manage while they're out in the field working. 2 web servers, one that does the app and then another one that does just regular application, and I'll show you a screenshot of that. And then we deployed 11 workstations, and I already talked about the Wi-Fi system at each garage location. So just to show you a little bit about what we deployed on the bus. So let's see if I got a pointer here. So this is the IVU. This is the server that went on the bus. And I already showed you the MDT, or the terminal. So when the operator gets on the bus, he'll log into using the screen, and that will integrates with the fare box. So when we collect fare box information, or you're going to pay, so our cash register on the bus. It also integrates with, or interfaces with destination signs. So if the bus is going out Hillsborough, when the operator logs in, it'll show that information on the sign for the customer. On each door, we installed automatic passenger counters so we can see how many people are on the bus at a particular time. It's a curtain that runs through the door, electronic curtain. It's heat sensitive, so if you bring a dog on, a service dog or something, it won't count that as a passenger. It has an 2 infrared curtains, so it will, and it's heat sensitive. So when you're walking in and out, it knows the direction that you're traveling in and out of the bus, so it can see capacity. We'll go back to that one later. Sorry. Inside, there's automatic vehicle announcements. So when the bus is going down a corridor and it's approaching an intersection, it will make an announcement, let's say 2nd and Broadway. So that way, if somebody is or visually impaired, they can hear what's going on and they know when to get off the bus. Also, we have a screen on the bus that will say those cross intersections as well. So that's this right here. We have video on all our buses. So if somebody hits an emergency alarm, it will tag that video in an incident on the screen, and then the safety manager or security can pull the appropriate video. So we put all this information, made it really easy for the operator, but what did we do to our dispatcher? Now he's overwhelmed with information. So he's responsible safety, system controls, the new CAT AVL system, phones, email, business rules, vehicle issues, driver events, public events, and weather. So I'll show you a little bit about log into the system, show you a few features here.
I hit the right button.
Network security, it's a wonderful thing. All right, there we go. Okay, so this is a live system right now. It's displaying where all of our buses are. So as you can see, as the data channel reports in, so you see the bus movements out in the field. Right now we're showing operator numbers, so the dispatcher uses these so he knows what operators are in which bus. But also I can go on here and cover that, and it will tell me which bus number it is, which driver it is. A block is where it's going down what corridor. Just a little bit. Hopefully you can hear me. What corridor they're on. That's it. I can right click on there, go to property. Oops. See if I can. Let's see, playback. So I'm going to demonstrate if somebody has to do an investigation, I can go into here and see what the bus traveled for the last few hours. So I'll just put 8 o'clock in there. Then I can hit play. So this is a useful tool to make sure the operator actually drove the route that he was supposed to, instead of stopping at Walmart to get something to eat. So in that particular, we can do investigations. So if somebody says they didn't get picked up or a bus was late or a number of things, the dispatcher can go through and see what that bus actually did. So that's one of the more useful tools here. So take that off.
Can you only watch the video playback? You can't watch it. You can't see it live.
Well, you can do playback in the archive data as far back as you want to go.
Right,
but
you don't have a live view, though, do you?
No, we don't have the live feed through the camera system. Now, the bandwidth for the data system isn't robust enough to do that. So basically, if there's an incident on the bus, we'll go out to the vehicle or the vehicle comes back on the lot, and then we'll pull that vehicle data or video by exception. So we assume everything's all right unless it's being tagged or we get an incident call or email about maybe a passenger that missed the bus, or did they really, and sometimes the mayor's office will direct us to do an investigation, or maybe there was a maintenance issue or something like that. So,
how long do you keep the video? How long is the video maintained?
The video for the vehicle? Just until it's overwritten. So it could be, it depends how much the bus is used. So if the bus is used every day, the video might be gone in a week.
So if there is an incident, is it dumped?
We have to know about it in a short period of time.
Within a week?
It depends on how
often it's used.
It's used, yeah. A bus could go into maintenance, and the video, it might not be on the street for a week for a transmission or something like that. The video might be there longer.
So you need notification.
Yeah, so we can pull it, yeah. There's, we have 165 vehicles, so it'd be hard to pull all that video and retain it into a server environment for a long period of time. All right. I like this tool. It's a ladder tool. So right now we're looking at the Route 56, which goes out Gallatin Road, and it shows these buses here in green that are on time, and it also shows this red bus here as it's going inbound that it's running late. I can hover over this, and right now this bus is 13 minutes late. We have a parameter of 5 to 10 minutes, somewhere in there, that we determine a bus to be late. Buses will never be early, or they're not supposed to be anyway. So there's some other tools in here. So when the buses pull out in the morning, I can sort this by actual time to make sure that the bus actually pulled out when it was supposed to. The driver gets 15 minutes before to inspect the bus, make sure the bus is working properly, and then it will show their actual pull-out time from the lot. There's a map. So we do detours. So if there's a traffic incident or event downtown, which we seem to have every weekend, we'll go in here and put detours in. So the public can be aware of what's going on if the bus gets detoured. It's always a challenge with downtown. Other things, we have weather here, and we have TDOT cameras that we can zoom in, and other tools in here. So here's where we initiate a canned message out to the bus. So we can say traffic on 4th Avenue, so we can send a text message, or it's a canned message. Voice calls, like I talked about, the priority request to talk, and emergency alarms all get initiated from the operator to the dispatcher, and they'll come in. So,
Rob, you mentioned.
Do you have any questions on this part?
If there's an active emergency, doesn't that trigger a camera inside the bus that can actually record the incident that's happening real time?
Yeah, there's a covert button in there, so if the operator needs to initiate that secure button, they're able to do that, and the dispatcher can listen in on that particular vehicle.
Do police and emergency services get a GPS in the case they call for a 911 emergency? Does this coordinate with the ambulance and the police?
No, everything goes through our dispatcher first, and then the dispatcher will decide if it's, if they need to send an ambulance or a fire truck or something to the bus. So that's all coordinated through the dispatcher to make that decision.
Rob, does that data feed the app? I've got the music tracker.
Yeah, I'm going to show that in a few minutes.
So
That's that's Greg's technology challenge over there.
Do you need to be back on that one? Rob, you need to be back on that?
Yeah, if you can put me back on this one for a second. Okay, I'll talk a little bit about our signage and our customer experience next. So at MCC, we have 24 of these, 25 of these bay signs similar to the airport. So if you go in there, it'll display what's going on those at each bay, so you know where to board and get to your destination throughout the city. So I'm gonna have you jump back over to this one. Sorry. Gotta find the right one here. Hold on. View. So at these particular sign locations, we have 24 that are downtown, and then we have another 26 signs that are out on Gallatin Road, and we'll have more signs put on Charlotte Road, so Charlotte Avenue. So we can send out, not everybody has a data phone, so we have to try to tell them where the buses are. So that's two of the corridors that we're doing. We're also doing Murfreesboro Road and then eventually Nolensville Road. So all those main corridors will have signage on there, and that'll all work through the data channel, push out messages, or when the bus will be at that sign, 10 minutes away, the bus will be arrive at that location. There is service performance, so our schedulers can look at service performance. I'm trying to find one screen, so it's not showing up on minutes. Well, anyway, I'll just talk about it. So when we're talking about the sign downtown, the bay sign, when a bus pulls into a particular bay, its assignment, there might be already a bus there, maybe something's running late or something like that. So we have the ability to pull a bus into another bay. The RFID tags in that bay will notice that that assigned bus is at the wrong bay, and it will move the data on the sign system to the correct bay. So let's say you're going into Bay 3 and you really pulled in, which could be Hillsborough Road. You pull into Bay 5, it'll take the data from Hillsborough Road sign, which would be Bay 3, post it over on Bay 5, tell the customer that your bus has moved to Bay 5, and then on Bay 5, it'll say that that's Hillsborough Road, and this was actually original destination was supposed to be Bay 3. So that all happens when the bus pulls in, and then it also collects GPS location through the RFID tags. So that's back over on the other, can you flip back over here? I was trying to show you actually the pull-in. We have a map on there that shows buses in those particular bays. Sorry, I couldn't get that to come up. So I talked about the shelters, so we're soon to have, by the end of the year, we'll have about 80 of these signs out on the street. So, for our customers, also we have this website where you can go on and see where your bus is real time. So I took a screenshot of this particular one where it shows Charlotte and where the buses are at that particular time. It also tells you if the bus is on time, early or late. And then we have our app, and then also 3 other open data partners, which we do an open data feed to. So I'm going to show you that on my Apple phone.
I think it logged itself out. You may need to log back on.
Let's see.
So your Apple TV's
Yeah, it turned off.
Oh, it did?
Yeah. Where's your on button?
Not really, no.
Use the remote.
Yeah. Thank you.
Whoever provided that advice, thank you.
settings.
You're still connected.
So let's see. Get back. Let's restart it.
You got AirPlay going on your phones?
Yeah.
Believe it or not, we did have this working earlier.
There it goes.
Okay.
There we go. All right, so I have my apps on my phone, and I'm going to show you the one that I like best. If you're traveling in other cities, it's useful. Chicago or New York, Washington, or out west LA.
Yeah, Rob, it's important. This is not just local to Nashville. This
Yeah.
particular app will work in a number of cities across the
Yeah.
country.
Yeah. So it's the transit app. So this tells what our buses are doing right now that are running down the street right in front on 2nd Avenue. So it pulls up your GPS location. If I'm over here. I can also move my map around if I want to, if I want to board somewhere else or if I'm going to walk to a different street. So it'll pull in real-time information. So if you look at the 18 in particular right there, from that location in town on 3rd Avenue, it will be, 4th Avenue, because it goes out 4th Avenue to the airport. It'll be there in 27 minutes. So it's useful so you can leave your office and you don't have to wait on the street corner anymore. You can work up until 10 minutes or 5 minutes before the bus is supposed to get there and then walk out to the bus. So this is updated every minute. So it uses that same backbone that we talked about earlier, the 400 megahertz system. So if I'm going to ride to the airport and it's 26 minutes away, it also tells me down below on the other side over here that the next one after that is going to be 1 hour and 31 minutes and 2 hours. So I can also click on this. It shows the bus routing. So the bus isn't on the route right now. It's got to go downtown and then depart on its outbound trip. So it's not going to show the bus. So here's where you can board at 4th and Broadway, or at the Convention Center, Peabody outbound. So let me find one that has a little bit more service on it. So here's 55, which runs out Murfreesboro Road. It shows actually where that bus is with our open data feed.
Because it's red, it's late.
Red is just a color code that we do based on frequency. I'm not, so if it runs every 15 minutes, it might be red. If it runs every 30 minutes, it might be another color, green. I'm not familiar with that, so I apologize. So that concludes my presentation. Do you have any questions?
I've got a question. You talked to me earlier about some upcomings that you had. Would you mind addressing those for a minute?
Sure.
Coming down the pipe?
A couple things real early right now. So now that we get the opportunity to do automatic vehicle location, we have 2 upcoming projects. One is already in the work. It's a Tiger-funded project that's out Murfreesboro Road, and it utilizes transit signal priority. So we're working with Public Works, Metro ITS network group. And what that will do is if a bus is running out inbound or outbound, we put equipment at each intersection And so if the bus is running late, it will hold that light green for the bus to get through if it's running late. So that way, we give the benefit to the transit rider where they can actually get to the end of the line or their destination more quickly. There's other intersection things that we're working with Public Works on to see if we can get queue jumps and things like that. That's all new to Nashville, so there's been quite a few meetings on that. So what that means, if it would have its own lane, and they do this in other cities, where the bus has its own lane, it'll pull in, it'll get a queue jump, so it can go ahead of traffic. So, and this would only be done in our BRT, Bus Rapid Transit initiative, where buses don't stop every, few hundred feet, or they'll stop every quarter mile, so we're not really interfering with traffic. We'll get that quarter mile jump on the traffic that we might get a queue jump through, or progress traffic along if the bus is running late. There might be 65 people on the bus. So those 65 people get the benefit of maybe getting along a little quicker. The other project that we're working on, or is kind of just being started, is to pay when you board the bus with your mobile device, or manage it with a fare media card. So our thought is, and then with other applications as well. So if you want to go rent a bike downtown, you can actually pay for that with your mobile app. You could actually pay for it with your phone if you wanted to park, or some other initiatives. This was just funded by the council or the mayor's office this particular year. So we're pretty early in that, so we're probably 3 years away from that. So that's a whole different set of challenges.
I'm really interested in the electric buses. And how many of them do you have running now? And would you tell a little bit about what I was asking you about before?
Okay. We have 9 Proterra electric buses, and they run the circuit. They're the green buses that run on our circuit routes downtown. They're 100% electric. And we have a charging station over by the First Avenue and the train station and Broadway. What I found fascinating is when we installed that, we had to put NES Vault in with its own transformer, which is 480 volts or watts, I guess, or amps. Sorry, amps. I'm not an electrician. So, and what that charging station does is it has a bunch of solenoids in it, and it actually ramps up the ampage to 1,200 amps. So it can actually charge that bus in less than 10 minutes. So it depends how far the bus has gone, but generally 5 minutes to 10 minutes it can charge that bus up, so it can make another few laps downtown. So we don't push it out a bunch.
Downtown would go dark while this is going on. It's amazing.
So that's our Proterra buses.
How long can it run on one charge?
It can do a couple laps downtown. So it just depends on how hot it is. The air conditioning's running. Heat's running in the winter, so all that drains the battery charge on it. So we do 2 laps, I think, and then we run out to the farmer's market and then back, or another one goes out to the Gulch. And then I think we do a circulator through here, we used to. So that might be a smaller bus.
How many buses can go through that recharging station at one time? Is it just one at a time?
One bus, and then we're actually putting another charging station out by the farmer's market. So if there's an event downtown, right now we have a challenge to get there and charge, so we have to use a regular hybrid bus downtown. So we'll put one out by the farmer's market so we can utilize those buses when we have events downtown.
Do you have where you load Wi-Fi on the buses? Wi-Fi on the buses?
We're doing a project right now, which is in motion. And that project is getting customer feedback for all these other amenities that we can offer customers. Right now, we do Wi-Fi on our longer express routes, and then our routes that go out to Murfreesboro Road, to Murfreesboro, Laverne, and things like that. So we have Wi-Fi on those buses, but not regular MTA buses. You have to get funding to do that first.
And Rob was telling me about this pay app. One of the things that seemed really interesting to me was that rather than it, and again, I'm not an expert on this, if I say something wrong, forgive me, Robert. As you auto pay, it doesn't automatically necessarily deduct it. And the reason that's important is they have specials. If you ride a bus like 5 times during the day, it's a certain price versus what it would be individuals. In a month, if you ride it so many times in a month, it says, oh, well, this is a monthly rider, so they charge that rider a monthly fee rather than the per ride fee. And so it keeps all of that, and it tracks all of it, which is extremely important to our on fixed income citizens and our elderly and stuff that may not know exactly how many times in a month they're going to ride it, so they don't want to go buy a monthly pass. Well, it'll give them the benefit of a monthly rate if that's what they actually use. So it's a little bit more than just cha-ching, you're charged. It actually keeps track of all of that stuff.
So that'd be a ridership card that you would use. So if you're riding it, like Greg said, once a month, then you have one trip, they charge you $1.70 for that particular ride. If you ride it, 4 or 5 times in a day, it would have the potential to only charge you $5.25 for that day pass. So it has some of those features, and we're, of course, looking at all that to see what options different vendors have. So that's our fare management system that we're starting to look into now. Any other questions? Last chance. All right, I appreciate your time, and thank you very much.
Thank you, Rob. Well, we're getting out a little bit early today. Again, we had a couple other presentations, but I think I thoroughly enjoyed both presentations, and I appreciate you all coming. And again, I'm sounding like a broken record. Keith reminded me last week, he said, Greg, when you're out searching for presentations, remember this isn't just an ITS thing. All of y'all have projects that you're doing in your individual departments. I know you're proud of them. This is your chance for an IT show and tell, so please contact me and say, hey, like Rob did, say, hey, I'd like to give a presentation on this. This is timely. Let me know. We'd be glad to fit you in, and if you don't have but a 15 or 20-minute presentation instead of a 2-hour one, that's okay too. We'll get you in here and talk about it. So y'all have a good rest of your week, and we'll give you more information about John's security IT meeting in October. And thank you all, and appreciate you coming.